The wind on Mount Tanigawa doesn't whisper, it screams, a constant wailing reminder that this brutal, beautiful fortress of rock and ice does not forgive. It is a place where men vanish without a trace, where falling snow erases all evidence of a life in minutes. Yet some stories refuse to be buried, no matter how hard the blizzard tries. This is not merely a tale of mountain tragedy. It is the story of a military exercise that went horribly wrong, of a platoon that never came home, and the chilling, persistent legend that they are still up there, forever standing watch in the snow, a phantom army eternally on duty. Our story begins not in the deep snows of winter, but in the humid, desperate heat of 1944, as the war in the Pacific was turning. The Imperial Japanese Army, once an unstoppable force, was facing relentless pressure, and every soldier and resource was pushed to its absolute limit. The need for elite, hardened troops who could operate in the most extreme conditions brought a platoon of young, dedicated soldiers to the slopes of Mount Tanigawa, a place the locals ominously called the Mountain of Death. Their mission was a brutal, high-altitude winter warfare training exercise designed to forge them into unbreakable weapons through sheer suffering and discipline. The first day dawned clear and bitterly cold, with the sun glinting deceptively off the pristine snow. The men, laden with heavy packs and rifles, began their ascent, their breath pluming in the air as the crunch of their boots on the frozen crust was the only sound besides the ever-present wind. They moved with purpose, a line of dark figures against an endless expanse of white, establishing a base camp with tents that stood out like bright, fragile flowers against the immense gray rock face. That first night, as the temperature plummeted, hushed stories began to circulate among the junior officers.
An older local guide hired to assist them whispered warnings of the Yuki Onna, the snow woman who leads men to their doom, and of other, older spirits of the mountain that deeply resented this intrusion. The young soldiers, products of a modern militaristic education, largely laughed off these superstitions, confident in their training, their discipline, and their emperor. They believed that bullets and bravery were a match for any ghost, a fatal underestimation of the ancient power they were confronting, viewing the mountain not as a living entity, but as a mere obstacle to be conquered. On the second day, the weather shifted with a terrifying swiftness. The sky turned from a brilliant blue to a leaden gray, and the wind picked up, howling with a new predatory ferocity. Snow began to fall, lightly at first, then in thick, driving sheets that reduced visibility to mere feet, creating a disorienting, vertigo-inducing whiteness that erased the world. Instead of calling off the exercise, the stern, disciplined commanding officer saw the storm not as a threat, but as the ultimate test of his men's fortitude and obedience. The officer made the fateful decision to order the platoon to continue a simulated patrol along a treacherous ridge notorious for its sudden, deadly avalanches. The men, conditioned to obey without question, formed up and tied a rope line between them as a literal lifeline before stepping out into the raging white void. We can only imagine the coiling fear in their guts, a fear they could never show, as they moved forward into the roaring chaos, each step taking them deeper into the mountain's icy grip and further from any hope of rescue.
Then came the sound that was not the wind, a deep, grinding rumble that vibrated through the very rock beneath their feet, a profound noise that signaled the mountain itself was waking up. High on the ridge above them, a massive, unstable cornice of snow finally gave way with a single sharp crack that escalated into a thunderous roar. Thousands of tons of snow, ice, and rock broke loose, becoming a white tidal wave, a force of nature as impersonal and absolute as death itself. There was no time to run, no time to scream. The avalanche swept down the mountain face with unimaginable speed and power, engulfing the entire platoon in a churning, suffocating torrent. In less than a minute,
The roaring ceased, replaced by an eerie, absolute silence as the snow settled, smooth and unblemished once more. The entire platoon, every last man, had been wiped from the face of the mountain, leaving no trace, as if they had been plucked from existence by an invisible, indifferent hand. Days later, when the storm finally cleared, a desperate search party ascended the mountain to find nothing. No bodies, no scraps of torn fabric, no broken rifles. The official report would later list the men as missing, presumed dead, a sterile, bureaucratic epitaph for a horrific and collective end. The Army, embarrassed by the catastrophic loss and needing to maintain wartime morale, quietly closed the case, leaving the families with only vague letters and the agony of not knowing the final fate of their sons and husbands.
But on Mount Tanigawa, the story was only just beginning to unfold. The first new account emerged the following winter from a group of experienced hunters tracking a rare siro near the same fatal ridge. Caught in a sudden squall, one hunter peered into the swirling snow and froze, witnessing dozens of figures standing in perfect military formation, clad in tattered Imperial Japanese Army uniforms, with pale, waxy faces and unblinking eyes staring straight ahead. The spectral figures were partially translucent, shimmering in and out of view with the gusts of snow, a silent, terrifying apparition. The hunters, men intimately familiar with the mountain's physical dangers, but not its supernatural echoes, watched in stunned silence before the phantom platoon faded away, leaving nothing but the howling wind. They fled the mountain, and their story spread through the local villages like a wildfire, seeding a legend that would grow with each passing year. Over the subsequent decades, the sightings continued with an unsettling regularity. Post-war climbers in the 1960s, pushing for new routes on the deadly face, reported similar phenomena. One seasoned alpinist, bivouacked on a narrow ledge, awoke in the night to the sound of marching footsteps crunching on snow that wasn't there, and upon unzipping his tent flap, saw the spectral soldiers marching past, their forms glowing with a faint, ethereal light.
The climber reported feeling an overwhelming sense of sorrow, not fear, as he observed the ghosts, their faces etched with an eternal, frozen resolve. In the 1970s, a university hiking club that had become lost was rescued after claiming a group of silent soldiers in outdated gear had pointed them toward a safe path before dissolving into the mist. These consistent accounts cemented the legend of the Phantom Army of Mount Tanigawa in the annals of Japanese mountain folklore. The nature of these phantoms invites profound questions about what they truly represent. Are they traditional Yūrei, ghosts bound to the earthly plane by the violence of their death and an unfinished duty? Their silent vigil a powerful spiritual residue of their final disciplined moments? Their repetitive, structured appearance suggests they are trapped in an endless loop, a permanent echo of the catastrophe that consumed them, forever playing out on the stage of their demise. Alternatively, they might be understood as an ikiryo, or a collective psychic imprint, a thought form born from the intense trauma, discipline, and unfulfilled mission of the young soldiers. This concept posits that the powerful emotions of their final moments, the fear, the duty, the resolve, were so potent they were seared into the very fabric of the landscape, creating a recording that plays back under certain conditions, visible to those who tread the same tragic ground.
Their unwavering military formation is the most telling detail of all. It speaks volumes about their conditioning, revealing that even in death they hold the line, maintaining the discipline that was drilled into them in life. They are not aggressive phantoms. They do not seek to harm the living who encounter them. They are simply present, a permanent, chilling monument to a forgotten military disaster, a platoon forever on patrol, forever waiting for the order to stand down that will never, ever come. The mountain itself is the silent keeper and the primary actor in this drama, a formidable entity that holds this secret within its rocky core and icy slopes. The same winds that shroud its peaks are the very winds that seem to carry the whispers and the marching footsteps of the lost platoon. To climb Tanigawa today is to confront not just an immense physical challenge, but a historical and spiritual one. To walk directly in the long, cold shadow of a tragedy that the land itself remembers and refuses to forget. Every unexpected gust of wind that feels like a cold breath on the neck, every strange sound that isn't quite the shifting of rock or ice makes a modern climber wonder and glance over their shoulder. You find yourself instinctively scanning the whiteouts, not for wildlife or other climbers, but for a line of dark, disciplined figures standing where no living person could possibly stand. And you listen intently for the phantom crunch of boots on snow that has long since melted away with the seasons.
The legend of the Phantom Army is a story that forces us to remember that some wounds, whether inflicted upon a single person or an entire nation, never truly heal. They simply become frozen in time, waiting for a witness to acknowledge their pain and their story. It is a narrative that blurs the line between history and folklore, between a documented tragedy and a living, breathing myth that continues to evolve and haunt the modern imagination. This enduring tale serves as a powerful, somber reflection on the nature of duty and the ultimate cost of war, even far from the traditional battlefield. These soldiers were casualties not of enemy fire, but of the brutal demands placed upon them. Their memory preserved not in official histories, but in the eerie, recurring visions on the mountainside. They are a testament to the idea that some events are so powerful they can transcend their moment in time, becoming a permanent part of the landscape's soul. Ultimately, the Phantom Platoon of Mount Tanigawa stands as a ghostly cenotaph, a memorial carved not from stone, but from memory and mist. They are a reminder of the young men who were consumed by the very elements they were sent to master, their lives extinguished in a sudden, white silence. Their eternal patrol ensures that they are not entirely forgotten, that their story, however tragic and mysterious, continues to be told on the screaming winds of the mountain they never left.